Let's get lots of different perspective on this. Start this evening by bringing in two members of Congress right before they head into the chamber for the address. We have a Republican member of Congress from Florida, Paulina Luna. We have a Democratic member of Congress, Madeleine Dean. Good to have you both. Madeleine, thank you for joining us tonight. APL, always a pleasure to see you. I'll start with you, Paulina. What are you looking forward to hearing about tonight? What is the big thing that you need to hear?
I think I need a morale boost, and I'm going to have to ask the president to do a nice little whooping on banning insider trading for members of Congress. I think it'd be pretty base if he could say it directly to their faces, which he might. So if he does that, I think that that's a massive win from our perspective. But that, UAP, I think voter ID, but also to the affordability issue is a massive problem, at least for my generation and younger. And so, I have some legislation that would prohibit certain corporate companies from being able to buy those single-family homes. Maybe he champions that. So it'll be an interesting mix of topics tonight.
Dean, are you good with having Congress not able to trade while in service?
Oh, I'm good with that, but that's not actually what I care about him speaking about tonight. My aspirations are that this president will be serious and sober about the cost of living, about the cost of utilities that are skyrocketing in my suburban Philadelphia district, about the cost of groceries that are an increasing burden on seniors and families like my kids' families. I also wish that he would talk about health care, affordability and access to health care. My guest tonight is here as an advocate around the ACA and how the ACA actually saved her and her family with the ability to be insured. And finally, I wish that the president in a sober way would talk about foreign affairs, not just build up military, threaten this, threaten that, take this dictator out. Sadly, Chris, I have a feeling that I won't hear those top three things. On this 4th anniversary, I hope you see my pin here, on this 4th anniversary of Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine, I wish this president would say, I'm going to bring peace to Ukraine. Russia is responsible. I'm going to end it now.
Yeah, I heard Zelensky also say that his hope for the 4-year anniversary is that America stays on their side, which was a very sobering thought, to use your words.
Yes.
Paulina, I hope you hear about what you want to hear about, obviously. On the Epstein files, as a question of oversight, what does it mean to you that the Democrats on the Oversight Committee believe that the DOJ removed interviews and allegations without notice regarding President Trump?
Well, I'm glad that there's now interest. As you know, January of last year, I was the only member of Congress calling for the release on this. But what I don't like about how this whole investigation has gone is because there has been an intentional smear tactic on the president, attacking him and accusing him of being a rapist and a child trafficker and everything in between. I think if we're generally going to be focusing on justice here, why is it that we aren't actually looking at what the co-conspirators took on the plea deals? If we could reopen these cases and potentially pursue something under civil rights statute violations, which I've recommended to the Department of Justice. But again, we can talk about all these issues, especially on affordability. And I agree, Epstein is not going anywhere anytime soon, and I do think that they need to handle it in the way that I've advised them. But again, we won't even have any of these discussions regarding peace, regarding affordability, regarding health insurance, if members of Congress are personally benefiting from those stock trades and becoming rich off of betting against the American people. So I think that this absolutely does impact every single aspect of legislation that comes out of the House of Representatives.
Chris, I have a question for you. Do you expect the president to say anything to the Epstein survivors who are going to be in the gallery this evening? Do you think that the president will actually acknowledge them, or does he want to continue the cover-up of whoever were the perpetrators of more than 1,000 women and girls? It is way past time to be fully transparent on that. There's an obvious cover-up going on here, and the president is a part of it.
I have a question for you, but I'll answer yours. My guess is no, because he sees that as loaded politically, and he will probably say, look, I told on Epstein in 2006, which is a third true, and he'll say, I signed the law. I signed the law. Now, the problem is his administration's not following the law, but he did sign the law. So that's
Correct.
what I think he'll say. Whether or not I'm satisfied by that doesn't matter.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.